Good afternoon, everyone. I hope that your Monday you found spaces and places of joy, of peace, times when you could laugh, times when you could sing, maybe an opportunity to just dance as if no one was looking, to just freely express yourself, to let your inner child come forth and just bring you joy. What a joy it is to watch little children unashamedly and unabashedly just have fun. I think it's a crime that as we go through our lives, that we went from those little children who could just express joy by just looking at a leaf or bouncing up and down. And then as life began to do what it did, we began to become more inhibited. So I pray that you will find spaces and places where you can be uninhibited, where you can just express yourself, where you can just have joy. We're beginning a series talking about change. And as I said yesterday, most people do not welcome change. We don't like change because it's unpredictable. We don't like change because we've always done it this way. And sometimes we don't like change because we really cannot imagine something different. It may be something that deep down inside that we want, but we've been down so long, we've been so stuck in a rut that we can't imagine something different. So the first stage of change, of beginning to make a change, begins, like most things, is recognizing and identifying that there's something that needs to be changed, that there's something in our lives, something that we are doing, something that we are saying. Maybe it's our weight, maybe it's how we deal with our children or our partners, but something, maybe how we don't stand up for ourselves, maybe how we're holding ourselves back, maybe it's our abuse of substances, maybe we are turning up a little bit too much and it's becoming a problem. Whatever it is, it's identifying that something needs to be changed. And I said that I'll be using an example that you'll well be familiar with if you've gotten my book. If you haven't gotten my book and you're on Facebook, if you scroll up maybe 2 posts, I have done a post about how you can purchase my book. If this is on other mediums, my book is on Amazon. The title is The First Time, because everything has a beginning. And if you just Google my name, Carolyn Harris-Hutchinson, on Amazon, the book will come up. But enough of that self-plug. My examples in terms of recognizing that you're having a problem, but not necessarily being ready to do something about it. It's called precontemplative or precontemplative. I'm not exactly sure how you say that word. But anyway, for me, when I was using substances addictedly, I would use anything I could to change my mood. I realized, particularly with alcohol, that it was becoming a problem, that not just becoming, it was a problem. I was that person who experienced alcoholic blackouts, meaning that I would be drinking and the next thing I know, I'd be waking up someplace and know I had not been drugged, because when I would talk to people who had been with me when I had been drinking, they would start talking about things we had said or did, and I had no memory of it. And I remember the first time I experienced an alcoholic blackout, I had been at a club, and next thing I knew, I woke up and I was living alone, and I was totally perplexed about what had happened. I checked my clothing, I was still dressed. I checked to see if anyone was with me, they were not. And I noticed that my purse was missing. And when I noticed that my purse was missing, I began to realize the thing I had remembered, which was being at that club. So I called the club, my purse was there, I went and picked it up, and then I very tentatively called someone who had been with me at the club and did not have the nerve to say to them, "Girl, what happened? What was I doing?" But I just tried to say, "Hey, didn't we have a good time last night?" I was trying to hint at and figure out what the missing pieces were. How did I go from being at the club to now being in my bed? So I knew, and that was not the first time. That was the first time for me for having an alcoholic blackout, but it was not the last. And so, and from that time frame until the time I actually stopped drinking, it was probably about 9 years. So I knew that there was a problem, but it didn't stop me. I kept drinking, I kept drugging, but in the back of my mind, I knew that this was a problem and it was getting out of hand. And I sort of resigned myself to it. I sort of resigned myself to that's what my life was going to be. And that's the place I want us to focus on right now. You know that something is the problem. You know that it needs to change, but you have not made the decision to change. You've not made that decision. You continuing to do what you need to do. You haven't even thought about changing. You just recognize that it's a problem. For some people, you may relate to in terms of issues with your weight. You know, a lot of times when we gain weight and we gain a lot of weight, it's almost as if we wake up one day, it's like, how did I get to be this size? We don't recognize it as we're getting larger, and we recognize that our clothes are starting to not fit, but we blame it on the dryer and say it shrunk your clothes, or these were just cheap clothes or whatever. We just go buy a bigger size, and we keep eating and we keep not moving, and we just keep doing the same things. Even though we recognize that it is becoming a problem, we do absolutely nothing to change it. And so that's what I want us to think about today. Is I asked you yesterday to identify something in your life or some area in your life, that it might be helpful for you if you were to change it. And today I want you to think about, up to this point, up until when I've asked you to think about it, how have you just continued to do that thing, even though you know that it's probably not the best thing for you. For some people, you may be able to relate to being in a relationship. You're in a relationship with someone and it is not going well. The bad days or the bad instances are a lot more than the good ones, or I should say the good times are few and far between. And you know you're not happy, but you just you still stay with that person. You continue to do the same things over and over again. You continue to have the same arguments over and over again. You continue the same pattern of being really angry with each other, not speaking to each other, fuming and fussing, then making up, and then the same pattern over and over and over again. You know that it's a problem, but you just continue to do that same thing. I just want to give one more example. Let's say you're not overweight, okay? Let's say you don't have any weight issues, but you have a banana pudding, and that might be your favorite dessert. And you know that, you can eat it, and you can eat it, and you eat it. But after the first bowl, you go back for the second bowl. And in the middle of the second bowl, you know you're going to go for a little bit more. You know that you're already full. You know that you don't need any more, but you continue to stuff yourself. You continue to eat it. I think those are some great examples for us to ponder about. And so this stage is called, remember, I can't say the word very well, but it's precontemplation. That's probably the best way to say it, where you know that something needs to be addressed, but you just keep doing it anyway. I would invite you to like and share this video. I thank you all for those who have been doing this. Our members are growing. I thank you all for those who have bought the book, or either in paperback or in Kindle. Thank you so much. Thank you for those who have bought the book and have read it more than once. I really appreciate the support. I really appreciate the encouragement. And I invite you to encourage and support someone else in your life who you know what we've been talking about, who you know is in need of healing and restoration, who you know can benefit from these videos the same way that you are. And I invite you to do that intentionally. I will talk with you tomorrow. Love you. Bye-bye.